All right, here we go. Welcome to our summer 2021 high school ministry information meeting. This meeting is now being recorded. I have not seen anyone else come into our waiting room yet. So in the essence of time, because it is already 36 and I like to keep things short and sweet, we're going to forge ahead where we were meant to go. All right. So our why, again, of why we feel called and that it's so important that we live out our faith on purpose, right? There are no accidents with God. Each of us made on purpose for a purpose, and we should live with our lives and our eyes looking towards the purposes for which we have been called, right? Summer trips give us a unique opportunity to connect as we experience God's mission and creation in new ways. And I would say that is for any type of high school trip that you head out on. All right, so where is God sending us this summer? Many of us, of course, already know we're headed back to Sky Ranch. Woohoo! Okay, so as many of you also know, I personally am not headed back to Sky Ranch with you because we are due with our second daughter in June. So I will be on maternity leave this summer, and Deacon Chris will be headed with you to Sky Ranch, and I will be there in spirit, living vicariously through your lives. And it will be sad for me because I love Sky Ranch. It is part of my home blood. And let me tell you a little bit more about it for those of you that have not experienced this amazing place yet. So we are headed to Sky Ranch July 10th through 17th. That's a Saturday to a Saturday. As Chris maybe mentioned before, if you were on his meeting earlier, we drive for high school students, right? We believe that we can make it out to Loveland, Colorado, which is where we head out to in the 9-ish hours it takes us to get there. And then that next day, Saturday, after we're back from camp, we drive all the way back home to Minnesota. So we go Minnesota to Colorado and we're there. It's a long day in the van, but it is a worthwhile day. And many people have agreed with me time and time again. Let's just punch it there and punch it back. We're all ready to be home at the end of the trip and super excited to get there at the beginning. And as high schoolers, we can do it because we're big kids. And so we don't need as many potty breaks. So this trip is for youth who are currently in 9th grade through graduated 12th grade, right? So if somebody has graduated 12th grade in 2021, they're able to still come on this trip, right? Parents and adult leaders, I usually ask that my adult leaders are 22 plus and who love adventures. Sky Ranch is located in Fort Collins, Colorado, and it is atop the mountain. And it is really because we drive literally up the mountain to get to camp, which makes it so amazing and remote. And we have absolutely no cell phone service whatsoever. The week includes camping, service projects. We're going to have a night out on the trail this year. High ropes course, which if you see in that photo, Jake Torres is climbing the ropes course in the photo you see. And we have a few of us on the ground, but yes, that is Jake climbing up the
Scary,
you're welcome, Jake.
Scary pole.
And then we marvel, learn, and explore God's creation together. So that is a little bit about our trip. All right, our cost information. I like to roll through and then I will double back for questions. All right. Similar to the middle school trip, exactly the same as the middle school trip, our cost information, right? High school trips cover your travel and your lodging. They cover all of our fees that we pay to Sky Ranch for using their facility, for using their counseling staff and guides. It covers all of our food on the road and all of the food that we pay for at Sky Ranch. Our side activities, high school only has like one side activity that we do on our Friday night activity at the end of our trip, but it is a very fun cool down activity. So that cost is rolled in there as well. In short, the cost for Sky Ranch is all there. So $850 is our cost this year for Sky Ranch, and this cost is before you pay your deposit, you get your congregational support and your fundraising money. So again, total trip cost, deposit, congregational support, the amount due, the out-of-pocket money or fundraised. And what does that look like, right? So our total trip cost, $850 again, same deposit as the middle school trip is $150. Congregational support is $150. That is something that is offered whether you are a member of Trinity or not. If you sign up for this trip, you still get congregational support. Trinity members and other donors are incredibly generous, and we believe that all kids should be able to go on this trip regardless of cost. And so the amount due ends up being $550 to start out with. And then you have your other out-of-pocket / fundraised amount. I'm going to talk about fundraisers here soon, but I'm just going to state where I'm at now that if you had a deposit from last year's trip, yes, that can roll over and take care of that deposit right out of the gate for you if you saved your deposit with me. If you got a deposit refund last year, cool, glad you got your money back, but you do have to then put in a new deposit because I have not held any other money for you. If you worked a Lenten supper last year, yes, I have your specific amount that you fundraised written down and recorded if you were headed out on our reshaped Kentucky trip from last year. And so that will be automatically added to this year's Lenten supper totals, or just added in a new slot that I make sure you get your fundraised funds. They will not be used for any other thing at church, or they will go right towards your cost of your trip. So that is how money is working there. Our fundraising opportunities this year for high school, we have our first 2 Lenten suppers. As Chris mentioned, we are doing drive-through Lenten suppers this year. This is very different for those of us who are really familiar with Lenten supper fundraising. And all the sign up for it instead of the church bulletin board will be online through upgenius. So on Wednesday, February 3rd, that's this coming Wednesday, there will be an email where you can sign up for any of the 7 meals to work. There are technically specific high school, middle school, elementary meals to work. However, that is just so that Chris, Sherry, and I could pick our nights that we wanted to work, and we went in whatever order we normally went in when we assign meals. You can sign up for any of those 7 meals to work, and we will make sure that your name and what you want to do in hours work gets recorded, and then that information gets given back to me. So any of those 7 meals you are able to work, you can sign up through upgenius. There'll be more details about how the meal works once we get to the 17th of February, which is Ash Wednesday already, everyone. February 17th. Here we go. Okay, so that's how drive-through Lenten suppers are going. We are going to do, Chris mentioned this too, the online giving tree, and everyone gets a little bit of that piece of the pie, which is really nice. So how Giving Tree works and how it will work online is that we'll have a link folks can go to that you can also email out to family and friends, and just choosing a dollar amount to donate towards summer ministry. And so I'll probably ask for bios from kids of what trip they're going on and why, they've been on a trip before, etc., and then a photo of them. We'll put that online so folks can see who's going on our trips this summer. And then they are able to also sign up to be part of our prayer partner ministry, as well as donate a little bit of money, and everybody gets a little slice of that. So like Chris mentioned, 2 years ago, everyone who is going on a summer trip receives $75. So this year, I'm thinking we should be able to do that amount or more, just based on what I've seen for online giving right now during the pandemic, and what I've heard from other youth directors, and how their online fundraising is going so far. So some good news in that area. Chris also mentioned this as well, but we are planning on doing some type of the garage sale I think it'll probably be like a 2-day fundraiser, probably towards the end of May. I've reminded my team that if they plan anything for June, I cannot help them because I will probably barely be able to walk by that point, knowing me, as I prepare for baby number 2. So anyways, so we'll have a garage sale thing of some sort that we will do, and that'll be similar to drive-through Lenten suppers where you'll sign up through Upgenius, and we'll let you know when you can come in and work. And we'll do those things in the most healthy and safe way at that point. But as we all know, things are changing rapidly with COVID, just due to vaccines and also due to if new strains and things come through, etc. We're thinking through all those things the best that we can, and we're going to keep everyone as healthy and as safe as we can throughout this trip process. So those are our fundraising options this year. That being said, also, as I mentioned, we will never turn a young person away from a trip. So we always ask, if you and your family are at a financial point where you would like some help, just let us know, right? I never want these trips to make anyone feel less than or put you in a position where you are fighting for every buck to make this happen. If you need extra help, please contact us financially. We want to help you and want to make this happen and not be a financial strain for your family to go. So please do that. Trinity has many wonderful donors who have paid for children's trips when we've called them up and said, hey, we know of a student that needs some scholarship money. We also have a scholarship money fund where if you're like, even $50 helps us right now, just let us know what that amount is that you think you need, no matter where you are in the process for the year. So if it gets towards the end, etc., we just want to be here to help you. And the more communication we have, the better we are about making sure you get the money you need so that your young person has an opportunity of a lifetime to go on these trips. So, all right. A little bit more, like I said, about the drive-through Lenten suppers here. Sign Up Genius on February 3rd. The high school meals are the 17th and 24th, but you can sign up for whatever of the 7 meals works best for your schedule. That is A-okay. And Deacon Chris is working on all of that, so I don't have the most clarity on how Sign Up Genius works. But if you've used it before, you're pretty familiar with it. It sends you out an email, or you can take your name off or put your name on at your leisure from that list. So I think it'll look better than the scratched out, white out signups we've had on the youth bulletin board in the past. I'm looking forward to not looking at that eyesore of a calendar outside my office. So we might be going online from here on out with Sign Up Genius. All right. So what is next? Discuss this calmly as a family. Need to pray about it. It's always good to pray about, hey, is this the direction we're being led for the summer? Our registration online begins Wednesday, February 3rd, same time as at Sign Up Genius for Lenten suppers. And our registration ends March 31st. I love when students have friends that want to come on these trips and they're like, oh, I couldn't get them to really think about it until March, right? That's fine. But I cannot usually register a student later than March 31st for a camp because of what Sky Ranch will be doing for their policies and procedures and what deposits look like for them. It's really hard for me to add after that drop dead date of March 31st. So that's why that date is there. A deposit or an agreement, as we've talked about, if your family cannot do a deposit right now or wherever you're at financially, that's okay. Just communicate that with me and we'll put you on a payment plan. We can scholarship, whatever that looks like for you, whatever you're comfortable with, we will work with you on that, right? That trip information form is super important because we need your email, your cell number, ways to connect with you because we want to make sure that you know everything you need to know about this experience. And then during February, you can watch for when our trip meetings will be. We like to do them each month, once a month. I need to talk with Deacon Chris because she is going to be leading some of those trip meetings to get everyone prepared and just put a schedule together with her. And I typically send out a lot of my information for trip meetings via email with our constant contact service. So I put your email into a new email group, and you get a monthly email with everything you need, or a couple others if I need to get a hold of you. If I super need to get a hold of you, I'll text. But the other thing that I do is I put a lot of my contact information into, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the app, but I have texting updates as well, because I know that works better for high school students for sometimes than responding to an email. But parents have the email to look at, and then I usually text out to students as reminders about meetings and things. So email and cell phone get used quite a bit. So the favorite ones for that is always preferable on your information form. All right. My other part of information, I need adults and parents. Woohoo! We want you to come to Sky Ranch. Many of my adults and I last time decided Sky Ranch is like the most vacation-y summer trip we've ever experienced in our entire lives. It was glorious. It was wonderful. And we don't need chaperones. I do not like people who try to chaperone my trips, because I like adult leaders, parents and adults who are willing to take leadership and make the trip about the kids and not about what they're getting out of it, but what the kids are getting out of this experience, right? Leaders do not need to pay for their trips. Trinity covers that and has that rolled into the cost of our youth for our trips. Leaders also do need to submit an application, and this application the CYF team looks at. And because of our numbers on Sky Ranch team, we're really fortunate that we can take a couple more adult leaders than the Noah's Ark trip can, because for every 10 youth participants, we have an adult leader go free, which is a really cool bonus to going back to Sky Ranch and a real financial asset. So I'm very excited about that. The deadline is also March 31st for adult leader applications. All right. Woo! Fire hose. This is what Zoom is now for me. Let me just tell you all the things, right? I would love questions if you have them.
Hey, Kate, what are like the daily activities or the main activities that we would be doing during that week?
Yes, I'm happy to share that. So Sky Ranch is a Bible camp, right? So it works a lot like every other Bible camp. Is high school students for the week that we participate in also sleep in kind of what Chris was describing as like a flatbed tent. So it's like a wood flooring and then like a tarp tent over you. It's weather protectant mostly. It gets very cold at night, but the trick is if you have a mummy sleeping bag, you can strip down to a t-shirt and shorts, and the less clothing you have on, the cozier you will be, because your mummy bag reflects your heat, right? My students that try to layer up and put hats and gloves on in their tent end up freezing because the sleeping bag can't get their heat, right? So you're sleeping in tents so it's mostly outdoor sleeping, because a lot of people end up putting their hammock out and sleeping in the trees overnight. So youth sleep down usually at the campsite, and adult leaders have a stay at the lodge, which is a little bit a ways away from camp. The counselors stay like at the campsite with our youth. Our bathhouse is a little bit of a trek away up a hill at night, so you just have to watch out for moose and shine your flashlight at them. So the day starts with a breakfast over the fire for high school students made by their counselors, and then a Bible study followed by a different camp activity, worship, and a service project element to the day. And then depending on the day, when we decide to do our day hike or do games, we do some of the camp activities and some of the camp meals, and some things we do on our own. So each day can be very different and vary. The big thing this year is our overnight trail hikes. So you'll get packed up at the outfitter center with everything you need for an overnight trail. And you'll head out on the trail overnight with all your stuff you need for the night, including your little porta potty. That's like a little pot that you can take into the woods. It's very rustic and beautiful. And then you'll have your meal out on the trail, and then you'll summit and then come back down the mountain. So it's a very fun experience, and our kids absolutely loved our trail hike day the last time. And that just depends on what the best day is for weather at camp and what the service projects are. But most of it involves worship and Bible study and playing games around camp and having fun. Sky Ranch has an amazing sand volleyball pit that our group really got into team volleyball for the week and had some lively competitions every day. Lively. So some very fun camp activities. Each day differs. And we are led up with the Spirit and what our Sky Ranch staff has in store for us. So it's all college students who counsel us for the week. So we'd let them do a lot of the leading while we're there. Good question. Thanks, Annie. Anyone else have any lovely questions? I did pretty good on time, you guys. Like, I kind of killed it. I'm pretty excited about that. So if there's no other questions, I'll close us in prayer here. But if you do have something you'd like to speak to me separately about, don't hesitate to call or text or email, and I'm happy to answer other questions for your family specifically if you want to chat that way. So I'll close us in prayer though. So thank you guys so much for your time this evening and learning more about Sky Ranch and our summer experience. All right, let's pray. Our great God, I thank you so much for the life that you breathe in our lungs, the ability to travel and experience you in new and different ways, especially on top of the mountain. Lord God, you know the plans you have for us. And so I'm excited for the group that you are forming and putting together that will journey together this summer, and that you give us hope and renewal wherever you are. Amen. All right, you guys are amazing. Thanks so much for sitting on Zoom for an hour. It's a task unknown to mankind, I understand. So thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Thanks, Kate.